we get to move on to my favorite segment. What y'all thinking? Our new segment where we get to interact with listeners and viewers. And Ike, we've got 4 comments to get through. We hear from Teresa first. She's a PGH expat living in the UK. She says she loves the show. Flew over last week across the pond to see the Steelers and Bengals last Sunday. She's wondering where the Steelers should get help in the first round of the draft. She mentions Georgia corner Keely Ringo, Ohio State offensive tackle Paris Johnson in the first round. But she's looking at DB. She's looking at linemen. So she turns to you, Ike Taylor, as a scout for the Steelers. Is there a position group, an area, a player that you've identified that you'd like to see the Steelers draft in the 2023 draft?
Mark, I'm gonna let you answer this question, but I will say we will be looking for the best available at whatever pick we have.
Such a political answer. I love it, Ike. I love it. So I will give you some info here. If the season ended today, the Steelers would have had the 8th, the 34th, and the 39th pick. Ike, you know how I like my Georgia Bulldogs, the 2 tight ends. I don't know how high that they're rated, but there is a player. Teresa mentioned the Ohio State tackle. There is a player in the Big Ten out of Northwestern, Peter Skoransky. Is an offensive tackle, left tackle. I kind of liken it to this, Ike. Rashawn Slater, the left tackle for the Chargers, serves as Justin Herbert's bodyguard. What if the Steelers get a bodyguard for Kenny Pickett for the years moving forward? Skoransky out of Northwestern dominates the line of scrimmage and consistently in the Big Ten. Doesn't matter who he goes up against. That is a player that I like. Listen, I would make the argument too, Ike, too. And I will say this because I know you work for the team. But other than TJ Watt and Minkah Fitzpatrick, I could argue that you could upgrade every position on the team, and I'll leave that there.
Okay, I respect that.
All right.
You can't.
We will go to. I'm sorry?
You can't go wrong with the offensive lineman.
Never. Ike, Fat Tony writes us and says, Pickens is a pack-a-punched Brandon Lloyd with the christening of Hines Ward. He's a treasure. Fat Tony responding to our comments last week when we were talking about George Pickens, how he's the alien, how George Pickens is the alien. And Ike said that George Pickens, I forget who Ike said he reminded him of. We'll try to get Ike back again as we've lost him due to connection issues. Apologies to anyone watching the stream. But Fat Tony, thank you for weighing in about George Pickens. A punched up Brandon Lloyd. Shout out to Brandon Lloyd as well, the former U of I receiver. We're getting Ike back here on the show as his, again, apologies for the connection issues. Ike, what'd you think of Fat Tony's comparison saying that George Pickens is a punched up Brandon Lloyd? I forget who you compared Pickens to a week ago.
Yeah, Pickens just he's a hybrid, not hybrid. He really is an alien. That's why I call him Gap. George Alien P. I made a comparison, but just to backtrack off of what I said, you really can't compare GP, man. He different.
Okay.
He different, man. For a guy, the plays he's making are veteran plays. You know what I'm saying? And he's just a rookie. So we was talking about Deontay Johnson and him not having a rapport with Pickett. Oh, Pickett and Pickens, they definitely have that rapport.
Yes.
If anything fails, he's looking for GP all day, every day, and why not? You got a guy who is silky smooth, who's very aggressive, who might have, other than DeAndre Hopkins, some of the best ball skills.
With you there, Ike. I am with you there with the rapport with Pickett as well. I recognize that too. We'll go to M. Puchar, who says, those Bumblebee jerseys were hideous, and Ike, they were your favorite.
Loved them.
Please rebut.
Loved them. Hey, listen here. Man, them Bumblebee jerseys, man, they be a lot. Them Bumblebee jerseys got pictures up on my wall. Them Bumblebee jerseys won us a lot of games. Them Bumblebee jerseys had my swag on 1,262. Them Bumblebee jerseys, man, just felt like, man, we just broke out. That's what I love them Bumblebee jerseys, man. It really was an old school 1933 Steagles, when Pittsburgh and Philadelphia Eagles had combined. I felt like I was a part of that. So yeah, that's why it was one of my favorite jerseys.
Yeah, I know the Steelers and the Eagles, and I know they combined, I think it was like during the war, Ike, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, correct. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I need to brush up on my Steelers history, Ike, but you are spot on there. So a tribute to history with the Bumblebee jerseys. Yeah, yeah. Last comment comes from someone who calls themselves Bilbo Baggins. I think this is hilarious. Says, I wish the draft was in Vegas every year. Kansas City does nothing for me. I used to be one of these people that said, keep it at Radio City Music Hall in New York City. But since the NFL has toured around the draft, they've had it in Chicago, Broadway, and Nashville. The streets were flooded with people. They just had it in Vegas. I liked Vegas. It's very grandiose, but it showcases the great cities in this country. And I think Kansas City is going to be on full display. That's where my immediate family lives now, my parents and my brother. You're going to see a side of Kansas City that you haven't seen before. Give it a shot. I was the same person who's saying, why are they moving out of New York City? And since they've had it in other cities, Ike, you've gotten to showcase some of the great cities that have NFL teams. Give Kansas City a shot.
Just when you're able to travel and you go to different cities, when it comes down to this NFL draft, you're learning a piece of that city and you learning some new history, something you probably wasn't taught in school that went on in that city. That's what I love about the city, and it also put, them cities on the map. You go to the mom and pop restaurants. You see the culture of different cities. You see how certain cities come together. You see what they can provide, for people in them cities. You see what the life like is in them cities. So the reason why I love that the NFL did go from city to city. You just learn the history every year. You from every city, man. You learn a piece of something, because when it comes down to the commercials and the communities in different cities, they have something local to say. Hey, when you come to Chicago, you should go here. When you come to KC, you should go here. When you go to Vegas, you should go here. When you come to New York, you should go here. When you come to Nashville, you should go here. So that's for me. I just look at it because I'm a National Geographic kind of guy. So every city that the NFL draft go to, I just learn a piece of that city when it comes down to the history.
Ike, tremendous answer. And if any of our listeners or viewers need recommendations in any of the cities you just listed, I've been to them all. Hit your boy up because I'm with you there. And you try something authentic that you've never had before, whether it's food, whether it's drink, it's the culture. You learn something new and you just, and then you can share that with others. So again, I used to be, when they first moved this out of New York, I'm like, what are they doing? Now I love it. We get to see and showcase the great cities throughout the country. I'm telling you, give Kansas City a shot. You're going to be surprised. So Ike, that was What Y'all Thinking. I had fun with this again, and our viewers seem to really, really like it. So Ike, you nailed it on the first try too of, hey, what should we name this segment? What y'all thinking? I'm excited to have this continue to be a part of our show.
Hey, make sure whoever's tuning in, matter of fact, everybody who's tuning into our show, make sure y'all give us a bunch of questions because we love this What Y'all segment.